Are we live? Are we live? Mr. Rob, are we live, brother? I think we
Are we
are.
live? I think we are. It looks like it.
I think we are. What is going on, everyone? Good night. Hope you guys are all having yourself a great Thursday night. I have a special guest with me, Mr. Robert Russo. I actually did a quick live video earlier, and I was kind of breaking down the live video that like I've came to the realization, bro, that as a content creator, right? Because we're all content creators at the end of the day. It's this concept of documenting your journey. Like Gary Vee talks about this a lot. So I'm not too. I know you listen to Gary Vee, right, Rob?
Yes, yeah, I'm familiar with Gary Vee.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so Gary Vee, I listen to Gary Vee's content a lot. I consume it I consume it uh a lot. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And Gary Vee talks about this concept of as a marketer, as a content creator, because we're all content creators at the end of the day, it's our ability to document our journey. So for me, my biggest thing that I'm constantly focused on is how can I document my journey today? Whether that's in the
hmm
form of a live video, whether that's in the form of a post that I do. Like my biggest thing is documenting my journey, right? And I think even for myself as a coach, my biggest thing is I always want to document my client's journey as well, right? Like I know for you, bro, like I know we've done a few live trainings before, whether that's our first live training that we did back in, what was it, back in like, man, was it like August, September, back in
Mm,
the old
yeah.
days, right? We
Yeah.
did a few. We did that. We did the podcast. We did the interview of you landing those three clients. We did the when you built out your Facebook group. We did that. We did a few, and I've came to the realization that my biggest objective as a coach is to constantly be documenting my client's journey from where they started to where they're at now to even where they're going to be in the future. Documenting my journey, documenting clients like you, whether that's Jill, Ethan, Jamal, Carrie, Federico, right, who just joined, Omar, Josh. I can go down the list, but my biggest focus is to constantly keep documenting your guys' journey too, so we can all see the growth from my perspective and from your perspective as well. Right. So yeah, man, I'm excited for this because I know we've done a few. And for those of you that don't know um Rob, but Rob was actually able to monetize his Facebook group. So Rob is actually in our phase two program. And essentially what we break down in phase two is this concept of building your own Facebook group as a way for you to land more higher paying clients, right? And essentially, what I do here, my own business, I kind of break down literally my whole blueprint into building my own Facebook, and I teach that in phase two. And Rob has been literally just been implementing this relentlessly, right? Showing up daily, jumping on coaching calls, growing the crew, posting content each and every single day. And I want to talk about all the ups and downs in this interview slash podcast. Um, but I think one of the biggest things that I've realized with you specifically, bro, is that you're a relentless individual, bro. Like I really want you to notice that. Like I know you went through some challenges, whether that's people that have ghosted you when you built your group, jumping on sales calls, people not showing up, but you kept showing up, bro. Like you kept doing the thing that nobody wants to do. And to me, that inspires me. And I hope that's inspiring other people as well. Like a lot of people could be like, wow, Rob landed this 1K per month client. Awesome. But nobody knows what happened in the back end of when Rob was reaching out to people, people weren't responding back. He was jumping on sales calls, people weren't showing up. Like that to me is a thing that inspires other people. And I'm very big on inspiration, right? Like I'm very big on inspiring, and that's really what I want this interview to be about. Like talking about the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, the happy days, the good days, the bad days, because this is all part of the entrepreneurship game. Having these highs and having these lows, but staying resilient with the process and just keep showing up. I don't know if you want to put your 2 cents with that, bro. But
Yeah,
I
I
kind
think
of want to hear
you
what you're saying.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there when you mentioned showing up every day. Because I know that when I first started this journey, I think it was back in August of last year. I mean, what is it, about 8 total months that it kind of took for me to actually get the highest paying client I've ever had in my entire copywriting career. And like you mentioned as well, that's something that didn't happen overnight after I joined your program either. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been doing this for a while with you, and I know you mentioned the facet of showing up every day, even if you are taking little milli failures or hiccups along the way as well. Although they are quite many in retrospect, I mean, it's a matter of putting that stuff behind you and just putting your best foot forward every day, knowing that you are working towards a main goal and you have a certain level of drive to do whatever it takes to get there as well. Even if you may not have it go your way each and every single day, whether you're sending all these DMs and no one's even responding to you, or if they are responding, they're not even acknowledging you, leaving you on red, right? Or like you said too, booking sales calls, having people not show up to them, or having people show up trying to sell you on their own service or product, right? I mean, it's a lot of
Yeah,
different things I wouldn't say go wrong, but they just don't go the way you want them to.
for
And I think
sure.
a lot of people are rather quick to want to just give up when that stuff goes wrong, right?
For
And
sure.
I think like myself, just knowing that I have you in my corner and I have you as someone who is a coach to me and a mentor to me, I have that much more reinforcement in the faith in my own self, knowing that I have someone like you there to help keep me accountable, keep me driven, and to really just help coach me along the rough patches that I may encounter and reminding me that I'm going to make this work. And that's what you've been able to
Yeah.
do too.
Yeah. I think my job as a coach, bro, is like I've came to the realization, and I always think about this. My job as a coach is to keep showing up even when days are going wrong and I'm having bad days, and to just keep showing up for you and even all the other clients on the program. Because I know if I don't show up inside what I'm trying to build in my coaching business, that's going to have a big impact and a big reflection to all the individuals that we work with, whether that's you, Jill, all the other clients on the program, even my Facebook group as well, all the members as well. That's going to have a big impact to the reflection of that. And basically, it's like my job is to inspire and show what is possible, even when things are going wrong. Because again, here's the thing about business. Like I can talk about this for hours. You're always gonna have these ups, you're always gonna have these downs. But if you can focus on your why, like why you're doing this, like why are you doing this? Like I was listening to Ryan Pineda and Russell Brunson. I definitely recommend listening to that podcast for those of you that haven't listened to it yet. But Ryan was basically asking Russell, because he's built a $200 million business, right? All online. And Ryan goes, what's been the number one thing that kept you pushing during hard times? And simply, all Russell said, why? Like, if you're thinking that money's going to be the thing that's going to motivate you to keep you moving forward, trust me, this is not the right thing for you. You're going to give up quickly because you can make money doing something else. You can make money working another job, right? You can make money doing something else. But if your biggest motivation is money, you're not going to last long. And to me, when things get challenging, because they definitely will, right? Like this is not like an overnight thing, right? Like the success thing doesn't happen overnight, or whatever success looks like to you. The success, whether it's, landing your first, high paying client, whether it's making 5K, 6, 7, whatever the case may be, that's not an overnight thing. And there will be a lot of challenges that occur when trying to reach those goals. But if you can focus on your why, you will always overcome those obstacles. And that to me is the biggest thing that I want everybody to realize that. Right. And that's been the biggest thing. And you can even speak on this as well. But That's been the biggest thing
Mm.
that's helped me to push forward and keep showing up when things got difficult. Because I can go down the list, right, of challenges that have happened. But the thing is, when you focus on why you're doing this, naturally your mind is like, I can move forward, I can get past this obstacle. And for some people, that obstacle or situation that you're going through, some people can't go through that. But if you have a strong enough why, your why moves you forward and your why gets you closer to where you're trying to achieve. You see where I'm coming from, bro?
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense for sure. Like I know
Yeah,
myself personally as well. I have a why and a goal, each and every day that I got out of bed in the morning where I want to make this business work for my family, right? I want to
yeah,
not only have the financial freedom, but there's also the time freedom aspect too, where I don't want
yeah,
to be chained to a 9 to 5 and traveling to go and meet other vendors or clients for my day job when I could be spending more time with the people that matter most to me, and that's my family, of course, too. So
yeah,
there's not only a financial, motivation, but there's the time freedom behind it as well. And
yeah,
I don't think there's a single day that goes by they don't really, rehash that goal and that why in my mind every day that I'm doing this. And that's, what really helps to keep me moving forward every day as well. Just knowing there's something bigger picture that's basically a driving force behind, call it the madness that I'm doing every day with the
yeah,
DMing, the Facebook adding, the ghosting, all the stuff that kind of comes with it as well. I mean,
for
if you don't
sure.
really have that callus built up or that drive or that why, you won't last very long, doing this, is what I've
For
learned.
sure. For sure, bro. I love it, man. I love it. We are just getting started. Come on. All right. So so my first question to you, bro, for those of you that don't know who Rob is, I want you to introduce yourself, who you are, bro. Um, Especially for people that are new to the group. I know we've done a few interviews before, but I think
Hmm.
it's a great reminder for those of you that for those people who do know you, and even for
Hmm.
people that are new to the group that don't know who you are. So if you can introduce who you are, bro, why you became a copywriter. Yeah, introduce to us your journey, bro.
Okay, so my name is Robert Russo, and I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I'm 31 years old, and I currently, before meeting Nick, had been working in a typical 9 to 5 job. I went to school for business here locally in Michigan, and I currently work as an automotive analyst for a tier one automotive supplier right now. And I came across copywriting, I would say about 3 years ago, and I've been using it as a side hustle and a vehicle to try and achieve that financial and that time freedom that I spoke of as well. So I've been, working pretty intently on it the last 3 years or so. And before meeting Nick, it was all self-taught practices through doing online courses, through HubSpot or anything I could really get my hands on that was a low ticket cost or relatively free. And of course, YouTube is included in that as well. So I went through a lot of, self-teachings and I tried to just jump right in, with both my feet by jumping on Upwork and Fiverr, taking low-paying gigs, trying to cold email people that I found, through websites of products that I was interested in or even local services as well. Whether I was doing, cold DMing, maybe even some cold calling as well. And I was really just struggling to kind of see the big picture come to fruition for myself, where I knew that there's
Mm,
plenty of people in the market that are making high ticket level income monthly doing this copywriting thing. And I was really, really just struggling to find a way to make it work on my own, right? Like I felt like I had a pretty good skill set built up, and I thought I knew how to really find clients and get them to basically pay me for my copywriting services. But then after struggling for some time, it was when you and I had connected about August of last year, and you gave me a lot of free value up front. You basically did an internal audit of what I was currently doing with my, quote unquote copywriting business at the time. And you really helped me to really see where my gaps were, right? Where you actually even took a look at some of my samples that I wrote for my prospects, we'll call them as well, even though no one really even looked at that copy to my knowledge, despite the samples I was sending out through cold email. But you were able
yeah.
to just give me free value by doing a quick audit at no expense by looking at my copy, giving me critiques, giving me advice. And then that was kind of when I learned that I went through all these different self-teachings, but I actually had no idea what I was doing with my copywriting, even let alone the actual prospecting and sales process too. because I was taking in all this different information in the market from, YouTube, HubSpot, free courses, low paying, courses as well without an actual mentor. And I was taking in all this different data and info, and I thought I knew what I was doing for the actual product of my copywriting. But I think I was taking in just too many different, call them mediums of information, and my copy was nowhere near the level of what it is that you teach or anyone else in
Mhm,
the mastermind either.
mhm,
So I learned rather quickly that I really needed to not only sharpen my skill set and actually, get down and actually learn copywriting from someone who's been where I want to be, which is yourself, but then also learning how to do the actual sales process behind what goes into that end of the business too. Because I was a bit naive thinking that, oh, I have this great skill set built up. People are just going to come flocking to me and I'm going to start, making all sorts of money. But there's so much more to it as well behind building a brand, giving value and not holding anything back in terms of what you're giving out to the marketplace and just showing up every day too. And that's something that I really had a large gap with before I met you.
love that. Now, one thing I want to say, because I have a few questions that I want to ask, because you gave, man, that was good. Um, I think my first question to you, because I know you said that you went through and took a lot of like online courses. Like, what do you feel like was the biggest difference from taking an online course to actually having somebody working with you?
Yeah, so I think the biggest difference there is actually having someone available. I think availability is the biggest missing component to actually taking all these, free or low cost courses
Hmm.
because you can take the course itself and, learn the language of copywriting or, buy a course from some mentor, but he's actually not going to be there with you in the trenches or side by side, shoulder to shoulder with you to actually help you. Because I could do all these different free courses or even YouTube, for example. But if I have a question that I need answered and I need to go to somebody for it who's, been at a level that I want to be at, where do I even go? I mean, I can go on Reddit, I can go on YouTube and type a comment in, but I'm not going to get anyone answering me face to face or sending me a voice note or calling me and wanting to chat with me at all hours of the day, 7 days a week. And that was the biggest missing component too, because
Hmm.
I could take all this data and all this info in, but how am I going to actually know how to get behind the vehicle to implement it, right? I had no idea how to get my own unique questions answered.
For sure. And I agree with that as well. And not because, of course, I'm a coach, but
Yeah.
even just in the concept of whenever you get stuck, it's like who is going to be there to give you the support when you don't know exactly what to do. So, perfect example, right? When I was a copywriter at the time, and I was going through Dan Locke's copywriting course for 4 months, going through Upwork, going through Instagram, and all these things as well. I made a total of $6 my first 4 months. $6 my first 4 months as a full-time copywriter. I had an apartment, I had bills, like it was insane. Talking about it right now is crazy to me. And honestly, I probably could have made more money if I had somebody there with me whenever I got stuck. So for example, whenever a prospect was messaging me, "Hey Nick, what's your pricing looking like? What is your offer?" And although the course had great information, I didn't know exactly how to respond to that because I didn't have the support that I needed whenever challenge like that occurred, when I didn't know exactly what to say. So I think one thing that you said as well, it's like it's just going back to the concept that there's only two ways you can really go about really trying to make this copywriting thing work out. That's either with time or with money. And that's one of the biggest things that I've really realized. It's like you can waste time trying to figure this thing out by yourself, or understand that although making sure you're getting the right support, even though that's probably the most expensive thing that you've done, you can always make your money back, but you never get your time back. And I think to me, that's one of the biggest things that clicked with me. I remember my mentor at the time told me that when I jumped onto a call with him, he was like, "Hey, my services are $5,000." I was like, "Man, that is a ton of money that I do not have, my friend." He was like, he was like, "You can either pay with time, Nick, trying to figure this thing out, or with money." And when he told me that, I was like, "Holy smokes, he's correct." I've been trying to figure this thing out for the past 4 months, yet I'm not seeing any results. something needs to change. I can either try to continue doing the same thing, continue getting the same results, or realize that in order for my life to change, I need to change things in my life. And if that means I have to work with my coach, that means I have to work with somebody who can give me the blueprints. Right. So yeah, man, I love that. I love that idea that you brought up as well. And I think one thing too that I really, really want to tap into, bro, is the fact that you said you've built a brand. Now, for a lot of people, I think when they hear brand, it's like, oh my gosh, I have to be like this influencer, or I have to be this big name brand. Like, no. To me, when you build a copywriting brand or build any kind of brand, that allows you to build authority in whatever you're doing. And I want you to tap into that. Like, what do you feel like has shifted? Because now your face group is allowing you to build your brand, right? Like you're building true, real authority inside the Facebook group. So walk us through, bro, because yeah, man, this is a great topic. Walk us through maybe like the difference of what you were doing before now with what you're doing now, as in you're building your own brand with your Facebook group for your copywriter business. Talk about that difference.
Yeah, so when I first started out with you, I know we were doing just strictly the Facebook business profile built up for myself as the copywriter. And
Hmm.
back when I first started out with that, I was strictly doing the cold DMing at that point as well. But I think the biggest difference too is, let's say I was doing that same process even right now, I would only have just my Facebook profile itself built up, and I would
Hmm.
be just like everyone else that's in the DMs as a copywriter looking for a client, right? I mean, there's always tons of other copywriters in the space, and they would be doing the same exact thing that I was, which was maybe marketing a Facebook profile with a banner that calls out who you are, what you do. But in the same breath as well, they're not actually seeing you in the space, right?
For
They
sure.
could see your profile, maybe see a couple photos, but they don't see your live content, your value post, you interacting with other prospects or clients, you giving feedback, critique, you posting testimonials, doing live videos. And without the Facebook group itself, I really didn't have a strong way to have that authoritative figure built up in that brand. And without that Facebook group, I'm just another copywriter who's not actually building in his own trust and credibility with people who don't know who I am at that time, right? But when they
For
do get in
sure.
my Facebook group, they can adapt rather quickly to know who I am, what I do, and they get met with a ton of free content, right? Whether it
Hmm.
is live trainings, live critiques, me posting free email samples, subject lines, all these different resources.
Yeah,
Like, I'm actually out there as a copywriter, and I show you I'm a copywriter, and I'm not holding back with the value that I'm giving you for you to actually have
for
that
sure.
trust and credibility built up with me by you being part of my community.
For sure, for sure. And I think the profile is good,
Yeah.
right? I think it's good to just get your business off the ground, just land just your first paying clients. But I think when you're looking to scale, to me, building a real true brand is a great way to do that. And the simplest way to do that is through a Facebook group. Like here's the thing that I've realized with building your group. Like when people join a group, you're basically getting people entering your world.
Hmm.
You're getting people entering Rob's world. And when they join Rob's world, the people that you want to work with, right? So what's the strategy that we teach? The five flows. We got traffic. So how we getting traffic? How are we getting people aware of who we are so we can start building an audience? What do? We built the Facebook group, which is the main funnel. We built the group, and how we start getting traffic is we're now joining our we're joining niche-based Facebook groups, people that are our niche, and inviting those individuals inside your group. So this is how we're getting traffic. This is how we're building the audience. Next thing, what are we doing? We're creating content now. So how do we start getting now that we have the audience, how do we nurture them and give them value so they can start building trust with us and become even more interested in our services? We give them free, amazing, valuable content, whether that's some testimonials, whether that's some live trainings, whether that's a Loom video of you breaking down a template, whether that's you doing a copy critique sample, right, of somebody else's copy inside the group, one of your ideal products, whatever the case may be, giving value. After that, it's messaging. So how are we now scheduling calls? We have to start messaging the people that are joining those groups to get them into a call with you. After that, it's just sales. And after that, it's just client success, build your wait list or start hiring other people to start scaling even more.
Hmm.
Right. Now, of
No.
course, that sounds simple to do, right? It sounds simple. Hey, just build a Facebook group. But talk to me, Rob. I want to hear your journey with building the group. That's what I really want you to tap into. Like, what was your journey with building the group?
Yeah, so even like before building the group as well, when I was just using the Facebook profile itself, that was also an effective way to kind of build a brand where I was able to get clients that way as well. But then when I transitioned over to doing the Facebook group, it was a lot of legwork up front. I mean, I started out with 0 members, of course, and
Yeah.
you were probably my first member. And then from there, I had to just go on like a
Yeah.
rapid fire campaign of just DMing all these different business owners, letting them know who I am, what this group is for, who it's not for, and just giving the free invitation to want to join my community and get nurtured by free value that I'm able to provide to them as well. And initially, it was a very big grind. It still is now. I'm at about 244 members now, and it's been a lot of just daily repetition where I'm just making sure that no matter what my excuse may be, I have to send 30 DMs at least through Facebook and just get them out there and get people invited to my group, right?
Hmm.
So not only is it the invitation part and the struggles you may go through with just getting people to look at your message, let alone join your group, you have to just keep showing up every day with sending those invites out, no matter what you feel like, right? And
Hmm.
then twofold to that, once they're in your community, you have to also educate these people as well. And I do that through posting free value, those live trainings, those critiques, offering free samples to the top five people who comment, things like that, right? And also
Hmm.
being able to give them value posts as well. Even if I may not be showing up on video every day, I am making posts to actually help people honestly improve their business through copywriting. Like all the stuff that I do post in there are things that I actually apply to my own business. And they're things that I've even seen tried and true by other people in the copywriting space as well. So I'm just giving
Hmm.
everything that I know over to people for free because I honestly want to be able to help them. And
Yeah.
if I'm able to have people review these posts or look at what I'm saying and the way I'm saying it, I think I'm really able to positively impact their lives as well. And I'm confident too that even if I am giving away all this free value, I know that at the end of the day, they're not paying for the actual info or the value. They're paying for the vehicle behind implementing all that information and value. And that's where I'm able to kind of step in and help them even further along that process. So yeah,
Hmm.
overall with the Facebook group, it is just a lot of, daily massive action where you just have to show up every day, invitations, posting content, going and messaging people who are engaging and trying to get them onto calls as well. So it is like
Hmm.
an entire flow chart of a process so
Yeah.
far.
It's a grind, but it's worth it,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Like the seeds that because at the end of the day, like if I view a Facebook group like a tree. It's like you're constantly planting the seeds to this tree to making it bigger and bigger and bigger and
Mm,
bigger and bigger. So planting seeds could be you're growing the group, you're posting content inside the group, you're messaging new people to schedule more calls. Like you're planting the seeds inside this big tree, which is the Facebook group, and the seeds that you're planting daily is allowing the fruits to come off this tree, which is that new clients, right? Like, for example, right? Like, if I were to ask you, bro, with the invites that you were doing, whether that's you're joining Facebook groups and XYZ and all those things, right? Did you, how can I say, like, did you think that that person that you invited that and paid for 1K, that $1,000, and you have them as a 1K per month, did you know from that one invite that that person was going to become a client? Probably not.
no, I did not, honestly. I did not. I mean, I
You
knew that I
don't.
needed to invite them and I wanted to nurture them and try and get them as a client, but I didn't know which one of these invitees it was going to be, right?
You never know. You just never know. But What the reason why I'm bringing that up is because you planting the seeds. That's
Right.
just the idea behind it. Like you planted the seeds of doing the basic fundamentals. You grown the group, you were messaging people, even though all those invites that you didn't know the woman was gonna pay you 1K. It kind of just happened. But you planted the
Yeah.
seeds and you did the basics. Like the thing that I'm very big on, it's like business can get overcomplicated when you don't know the basic fundamentals. And that's when I see what I talk to thousands of copywriters. They're trying to do this big funnel. They're trying to cold email everybody right here. They're trying to go on Instagram. They're trying to go on Twitter. They're trying to go on Instagram. And they're doing so many things, but end up getting zero traction. And to me, the reason why that happens is because we're not focused on the basics. What are the basics? How are we building the audience? How are we nurturing this audience, which is through your content? So the traffic, how are we building an audience with traffic? How are we nurturing the audience, which is content? How are we booking calls to our calendar? We're messaging these prospects. And how are we closing deals? We're jumping on sales calls. And lastly, it's just client success. Like that's the thing that we need to constantly just keep focusing on. Building the audience, giving value to the audience, and letting the value lead to us enrolling those clients. And that's how, like, literally, I've been really building my business all through my group. I grow the group every single day, right? Whether
Hmm.
that's invites, right now we're doing everything organically. Right now we're just growing the group organically. I have my DM setter James, who's doing the invites. I'm doing the marketing, so I'm posting the content. I have James who's messaging, right? After that, we're jumping on
Yeah.
calls, getting people to say, no, I don't want to join. Yes, I want to join. All part of the game. Then after that is we want to get these individuals really good results. Like the flows never change. Like that's really what I'm trying to really tap in here. Like the basics never change. Like a line that I want you guys to write down if you're watching this right now, put a hashtag a master is a master of the basics. A master is a master of the basics. So what does that mean? If you want to master something, for us, it's mastering the Facebook group because that's what we do. That's what I teach. That's what Rob is doing and other clients of ours. It's mastering the basics. So, what are the basics for this business for us? Traffic, content, messaging, sales, client success. It's mastering these things and planting seeds daily so the fruits of our labor come into play. And the fruits could be that client. So, for Rob, what was Rob doing? Mastering the basics, the traffic, the content, the messaging, booking calls, people jumping on sales calls, people not showing up, but he kept dialing into these basic things. And what did it lead to? A 1K client. Like, do you see where I'm coming from with this, bro?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean,
Right?
I think it's just like a matter of just showing up every single day and realizing that it's quite simple on paper, but it's not easy, right? And it's just a
Mm-hmm.
matter of having that solid foundation built behind actually mastering the basics, like you said as well. And it's the fine, intricate details behind that that lead to success. Because if you're
Exactly.
pushing these basics forward each and every single day, whereas other people may give up because they're not actually seeing things happening live in front of them every day. That's really where the breakthrough lies, right? You really
Mm-hmm.
just have to keep honing those basics and applying them each and every single day. And like you said too, that's kind of where the unknown lies with other people who don't really understand that that's all that it really takes sometimes too, is just doing the little things, but doing them really, really well and doing them every day.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, in terms of like where you were at before you joined the program, like break it down with everybody. What exactly was the biggest challenge or the biggest problem that you had prior to joining our program?
I think the biggest challenge overall is having an actual process. I mean, before joining the program, I was, of course, believing that I knew what copywriting was, and I actually thought that I had a good skill set built up. And after working with you, I really got a lot of good critique, a lot of good feedback, and I realized not only was my copy not as good as I thought it was, but I also wasn't even writing copy the right way. Like I was doing formulas, but they were things that were being taught by so many different people, that they were totally different from the ones that you've been actively applying and getting results for clients on too. So not only was it the copywriting side of things, but it was also just having a process in place to actually get clients, right? Because I
Hmm.
think I may have had maybe just one actual prospect respond to me in the whole time that I was working by myself.
Hmm.
And I never got a single person to pay me a dime aside from Upwork and Fiverr. But even when I was using Upwork and Fiverr, I had like myself plus hundreds of other people applying for the same gig. And it was like, I can maybe get some money, here and there, but how long can I really sustain this for, right? And
Yeah.
it was it was then where I realized I didn't have a process behind actually getting clients on my own. I mean, I saw all these people on, YouTube and Instagram saying, "Oh, I just signed a XYZ client for, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month," and I was just like wondering how these people were doing it. And that was when I met you, and I actually had an actual blueprint placed in front of me and an actual process and someone I could actually go to for a walkthrough and they could actually like hold my hand and take me through and actually lead the way because you've been there before too. And I think that was the biggest thing that I was missing before I actually joined your program.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's like when I know for myself too, because I agree with that. I resonate with what you said. It's when you have a process in place like a blueprint, the
Hmm.
clarity just comes, the clarity is just there, right? I think I know from my experience too. Like I've tried Upwork before, and again I made total $6 using Upwork. A lot of competition there, a lot of low paying jobs. But I
Yep.
think for me, when my coach broke down um like Facebook and the concept of it, he gave me a layout and he gave me the step-by-step blueprint that I had to go through in order for me to achieve the results. And I think when you have some form of process and system in place, the clarity just comes there, right? For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and for you, bro, what specifically made you choose this program specifically over any other program out there?
That's a great question. And it really came down to your transparency and your honesty. I mean, you were not very pushy at all, in any regard whatsoever in terms of you actually trying to service and market your program. You met with me, you gave me tons of free value. You let me walk away from the call and think about things as well and kind of formulate and process everything you told me. And you gave me that
Yeah,
ability to really make the decision on my own. And it was after I got all this value out of you that I realized I can only imagine what the actual paid value would be, right? I mean, if you gave me all of
mhm,
this value and information for free, I can only imagine what I could actually get out of you even more
yeah,
by paying for the course, right?
yeah,
And I think that was really when it dawned on me that I could actually have you as a mentor of mine in my corner, and you would be willing to actually walk me through step by step how all that stuff would work too. And I think that
yeah,
was the one thing that I was really missing more than anything else in the market as well. Plenty of people would tell me they knew how to do that or they could actually help me with that, but they actually never were transparent to actually show me how.
yeah. It's funny. The reason why I'm smiling because I remember that call. I remember that call when I remember I was like, "Hey Rob, here's exactly what everything is." You were like, "Nick, give me a little bit, let me think about it." I remember that. But yeah, no, that's it's great though. And I think to me though, it's it's knowing that even for your own business as well, even for everybody that's watching this right now, it's like when you come from a place of like, I'm here to serve you and help you out, naturally people work with want to work with you even more, right? So, for example, if we think about it in terms of the business side, right? When you're building the Facebook group, when you come from a place, if you're constantly just pitching and pitching and pitching and pitching and pitching as you're building your own Facebook group, naturally it turns people off. But when you come from a place of, I'm here to give value, I'm here to serve, I'm here to help you out, naturally people are like, holy smokes. If this is the free stuff, I wonder what the paid stuff is. Like Alex Hermosi, amazing example if you guys are familiar with Alex. Alex gives a ton of free, amazing, kick-ass value from his content, whether that's his YouTube video, whether that's his Instagram, whether it's his books. ton of kick ass content. I could value, I mean. And naturally, I even see it for myself from like, man, if this is Alex's free stuff, just imagine what it would look like if I actually worked with him. And to me, when you come from a place of I'm here to give value to you, I'm here to help you out, naturally things just start moving forward a lot more efficiently. But if you're trying to sell, pitch, come off as this salesy individual from your marketing as you're trying to build your own business, naturally people get turned off from that. That's why I'm very big on like that's why is with all the clients that, even for whether it's Rob, Jill, Ethan, everybody, what am I very big on? Giving value. Giving value because the value leads it's getting people to want to work with you even more. You know where I'm coming from, bro?
Yeah, and that's exactly what you were able to help me with understanding and seeing. When we did speak
Yeah.
on our sales call and we did meet together, you were able to give me a complete audit of my current business and the way that I was doing things. And you did it free of cost too. And you really were just coming out of the goodness of your heart to really help me and help me to be able to see the entire blueprint and the entire way of doing things. And you actually did, walk me through your program essentially, right? You gave me all this value up front. You gave me the process, you gave me the formula. And although I had all that from you, I knew that I still needed to have someone in my corner as a mentor to answer those
Mhm.
questions or to help me get through those roadblocks that I knew I was inevitably going to actually encounter as well, the same way I was trying to do things on my own. So that's
Mm.
when I really knew that I needed someone to help me. And I really was able to connect with you on a higher level because you were really just so genuine and you were not just trying to get me to join a program for your own benefit. You wanted to really help me and everyone else that's part of the program right now as well. And that's really where I think I resonated with you the most.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love that. Now, I know when it came to phase two, because I know you went through our phase one, and you got some success with that. And I know it was like, hey, Rob, I have this idea where, and this was in January. So no, this was
Mm,
actually late December. I came up with the idea of building the group for scaling in late December of 2023, I believe, right? That's when I connected with you,
yeah.
right? Yep.
Yeah, I think it was beginning of January
And
when we finally got it kicked off.
yeah, we finally got it kicked off. And so just to give some everybody some clarity with this, so um the Facebook group concept, because I was thinking about my thought process was like, because my mission in this day and age, in today's world, my purpose, my mission is how can I help as much copywriters as possible achieve the goals that they're trying to achieve efficiently? That is my mission in this world. That is my sole purpose. How can I get copywriters to achieve the goals that they're trying to achieve more efficiently? And I just
Hmm.
was brainstorming and I was like, Nick, why don't you just teach other copywriters the same exact blueprint that you've been doing to build your own business? Why don't you just do that? And I was like, I started talking to my coach about this. I'm like, why don't I just cheat the Facebook group concept? Like, this is exactly what I've done to build my business. The same exact thing could probably be implemented for another copywriter. And that's when the Facebook group concept came into play. And I connected with you. You were one of the first individuals that I connected with. And I remember the conversation. I was like, hey, Rob, I'm going to be going through a phase two program. It's brand new. It's still a beta. I'm still process of just building things out. But I will be breaking down how to build a Facebook group for actually scaling and landing higher paying clients. And you were like, Nick, I'm all into this. Now, my question to you is, what specifically made you want to join phase two and the concept of building a Facebook group for actually scaling? Because you went through the phase one, you went through the hybrid referral system, you were getting some success
Hmm.
with it, you landed a few clients with it, but what specifically about the phase two, about building a Facebook group, really made you be like, I actually want to do this and I actually want to get this thing rocking and rolling?
Yeah, so the biggest draw for me was wanting to actually separate myself from the rest of the copywriting market. I mean, phase one was wonderful. It
Mm,
still worked. I was still able to get paid and everything through, clients of phase one itself. But then I really wanted to also just take the next step and kind of differentiate myself and make myself more unique in the market of my own competition, which is, of course, other copywriters outside the program. And I really wanted to kind of position myself as a figure in the space that knew what he was talking about, right? And can give free value and help other people at a large sample size of tons of people all at once viewing my content, seeing me giving value. And it really just came down to wanting to just get out of my comfort zone with being more on camera, building more of a brand of my own self, and actually having people get that trust and credibility from me by me actually having my own community where they can actually look up to me and say, oh, this is Robert. He's a copywriter. He must know what he's talking about because look at all this interaction that he's getting. Look at all these live trainings. Look at him on camera. Look at him talking about copywriting. And then look at all this free value that I'm getting just by being a member of his own community without even working with him yet, right? So I really wanted to have the opportunity just to build that brand and to have people recognize who I am in the space of of copywriting, excuse me.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I think to me, the biggest asset that I've realized, and I know we haven't gotten to this stage yet, but although building a face group and landing clients, right? Of course, it's not easy to do. It's simple to do. It's not easy, but I think the
Hmm.
end outcome of building your own wait list, that to me is a massive key to this all because I've talked to countless thousands of copywriters by now. And one of the biggest things, and it hurts me, Rob, I'm telling you, it hurts me when I hear stories of people making X amount of money from a client, from one client. They're making X amount of money. The client stops working with them and they have to start back from ground zero. Like, to me, it that right there just tears me apart because I'm like, man, like you put in this much effort and then literally overnight your income stops. You're doing it full time, you're making a solid income from one client, your client stops working with you, you're back from ground zero. And after such situations like that, now you got to start cold emailing. You got to start trying to figure out how you're going to get the business back up and running. You got to start trying to figure out how you're going to start getting clients. You got to start cold outreaching, cold email, like a ton of things. Got to go on Upwork, like a ton of things. But what the Facebook group does is once you make it start working, is that since you have a list of people, the traffic, you have an audience of people that are now aware of you. If you ever lose a client, you can always replace that client by reaching out to one of the Facebook group members, which is allowing you to build your wait list. And I really want
Hmm.
you to tap into that because I know we just landed a 1K client last week, but talk about that wait list concept because I think that's a powerful emergency kit to have in case you ever lose a client because this is the game of business. Like you sometimes you will lose clients, sometimes it's just naturally things happen. But
Hmm.
if you don't have an emergency kit of when things get tough and you lose a client and you got to start from back from ground zero, to me, you put yourself in a bad, stressful place to be in. So I want you to tap into that waitlist concept.
Yeah, so for myself personally, I like being as risk adverse as I can with some things, and that's one of them. I mean, if I have a client, maybe even like two, three clients at one time, and let's say things go wrong for whatever reason, and someone doesn't want to end up proceeding forward with the service, I don't want to have to be so reliant on that person's monthly income to where I'm scrambling and I'm not able to pay bills and I'm, going a little bit stir crazy with the fact that I lost that monthly income. So I think being able to have that safety blanket available is going to be super crucial and imperative. Just knowing that I have people on a wait list who already know who I am, they love my work, and they just want to be able to get their foot in the door with my services. But maybe at that time I was too booked, right? I had maybe too many
Mhm.
clients. But if I have that wait list built up from, highest seniority based on who may have wanted to work with me before someone else from top to bottom, I have people that I can go and contact and let them know that I'm finally ready to be able to start serving you once I may lose a client, down the road potentially, right?
Yeah.
So I think having just that ability to be more reassured and, more confident in the fact that I have a backup plan or an emergency, blanket, so to speak, I think that really helps me be more confident in being an entrepreneur and having a business without that fear of things going wrong, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Entrepreneurship is about taking risk, but taking calculated risk
Yeah. Yep.
and being strategic with it. Like to me, I love taking risks, man. Give me
Yeah.
all the risk in the world. But if it's gonna put me in a if it's gonna put me in a bad financial situation, to me, I'd rather go a little bit on the safer route than putting myself in a bad
Yeah.
financial situation. Right. And to me, if you have a wait list of people that you can always contact, to me, you're putting yourself in a better situation in case something ever happens. It's just an in case something ever happens, right? And I know as well for a one-on-one call too, because I definitely want to talk about our conversation that we had of the future of what I'm really aiming for with you. I think I was talking about this either earlier in my live or earlier this week on my live training. But I know when we had our one-on-one call, I was really focusing on like what's the next steps for Rob's evolution. And I remember we spoke about this concept of hiring people, right? Now, here's
Yeah.
the thing when it comes to hiring. I was actually talking about this in our coaching call, literally about an hour and a half. It was Jill and Ethan, right? They jumped on because they were able to jump on. When I was talking about like the macro overview of where everybody should be heading towards, about getting to a stage where buying other people's time and becoming an actual real CEO.
Hmm.
And that is once you're actually like, for example, for everybody, the goal, the strategy that we have that I've been thinking about with Rob, once he starts landing a few more clients, he can either build the wait list that we just talked about, or if he's looking to scale even more, he can actually start hiring other copywriters that are a couple of chapters below him in terms of skill level and hire them so they can write the copy for him rather than him writing all the copy. So essentially, once he's now making money from his business, rather than him, because as a copywriter, there's you. It blows my mind when I hear people saying like I could write for 10 clients. Good luck, because I'm not writing for 10 clients.
No.
Not at all. That's overwhelming, right? But I think I think to me, the best thing and the most efficient thing that you can do if you're looking to make more money without working with more clients, hire people. Hire other copywriters that are a couple tries below you in terms
Hmm.
of skill level. They're looking for an opportunity. Hire them and get them to write the copy so you can now start focusing on bigger things inside your business and inside your life as well. And that to me is really where the end goal should be for everybody. Like I was talking to Ethan, I was talking to Jill about this. I talked to Josh, but a lot of people inside the program about this. The end goal. I'm even going to be talking to Keely about this tomorrow in our one-on-one call because she wants to talk about scaling. And to
Hmm.
me, when you have a system in place where you can actually start hiring people and you're buying other people's time. Because here's the thing, in the beginning, you're doing everything by yourself. You got to do the content, you got to do the traffic, you got to do the clients, you got to write copy for the clients. Like you got to do these things when you're building the Facebook group. You got to do all these things. But there's a certain time when Rob's time in certain tasks should not be, you shouldn't be putting your time into certain things. Like
Yeah.
Rob's time should be focused on bigger and better things. Not, oh my gosh, I got to write copy for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 clients. Like, no, no, no. Your time should be how can I make the business more money? How can I do that? And to me, if we're focused on that, the simplest way to do that is cool. What can Rob do to get his time back? What Rob can do is start hiring other copywriters to start writing the copy for him so he can get his time back and he can start focusing on bigger things. Like for me right now, like I'm at a stage where I'm not focused on the DMs right now. I'm not focusing on the DMs. I have bigger things that
Yeah.
I have to focus on. I have bigger things that I need to worry about. Or not worry about, I should say, not worry about, but I have bigger priorities in my life that's gonna make sure the business is moving forward. That's marketing and that's sales,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't I this is why I have James with me who's doing the DMs so I can get my time back as a CEO and focus on bigger things. Like I don't have time to be doing the DMs. And it's the same exact mindset as well for yourself if you're watching this. And even for Rob, which I was breaking down with it. You shouldn't be writing a copy for all your clients. If you're looking to make more money without working with a ton of clients, hire people. Hire people. But this is more so of like a macro. Like you want to make sure you're getting money inside your business before you start hiring people. But I'm just talking about the macro because I'm very macro. Like, what is the big vision? What is
Right.
the big vision? What is the big picture? You see where I'm coming from, bro?
Yeah, I think you really, made a strong statement by saying it should be on focus on sales and, marketing. Because if I have systems in place where there's copywriters that are maybe at a slightly lower skill set than me, or maybe even same level playing field, I can have the trust and confidence in them to deliver for clients while I'm also in the background adding more accounts to the business, other clients, right? And I can't do that if I'm kind of wearing all the hats in my business between the bookkeeping, looking at what's coming in, what I'm spending my money on to kind of grow the business, doing the actual content every single week, plus trying to grow the business. It just ends up being, too many hats to wear at once. And I'm not going to be able to really juggle all that if I have more than three clients that I'm working with at once. And
Yeah.
that's all part of growth too, just being able to delegate and step out of that portion of the business while also going on to something that requires more of my focus for me to actually get to where I want to be goal wise. And that goes back to the whole plan behind what my why is, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly, bro. It's like when you hit certain level, it's like, what can I do to get my time back? Like I listen to so many of the big dogs in the industry, and the number one thing that they're constantly thinking to themselves, what can I do to get my time back? What can I do to get my time back? Right. So it's having that mindset, right? So if everybody that's listening to this, like the end goal for everybody should be, what can I do to get my time back from my business? I might have to start hiring other copywriters to start fulfilling the work for me so I can focus on bigger things. Right. Oh, I love it. Now, for you, Rob, what specifically about the program really helped you out, and why was it so effective?
I honestly think it's just the one-on-one experience that I get. We get to do
Hmm.
weekly one-on-one calls. We have the
Yeah,
coaching calls on top of the one-on-one calls too. So I get to interact with you a lot. And not only do I get to interact with you on scheduled calls, but you're available through Messenger and your personal phone 24/7, 7 days a week. And if I need like an
yeah,
urgent copy critique, I know I can count on you to look over my material and I know you're going to look at over it quickly and give me feedback very, very quick, whether it's during the week or even on weekends. I just know that I have someone that I can really count on, and I have someone who's in the same spot that I want to be in terms of my copywriting business. And I think that's the most important thing for me. And that's the one thing that I value most out of the community, on top of having the mastermind that we have as well with other copywriters in our school or in our Facebook Messenger as well. I know
yeah.
that I can go to other people as well if I want to get advice, tips, or tricks, or even just delegate, and discuss things amongst each other. I know that I have a strong community of people who have my back and I have their back too, including yourself.
I love it. I love it. And talk more about the one-on-ones in the community, because I think I know we do weekly one-on-one calls because right now for a quick little mini update, where right now I'm helping Rob and even a lot of other clients of ours build their own webinar for their Facebook group. Right? So they have a webinar that can allow them to ultimately showcase why they're different compared to other copywriters in the industry. Like we're and we can even we're actually let's even talk about that too. Like well, first I want you to talk about the one-on-one support, like why specifically that's been helping you. And I also want to tap into the webinar and also the community too.
Yeah, so for the one-on-one calls themselves, I know that I can actually come to you for anything that I have as a glaring, call it a glaring problem or a glaring question or a big glaring unknown for my business at the time. I know that on those one-on-one calls, you're able to actually take so much time out of your day too, which is what I appreciate as well. Even on the one-on-one calls, if they even go past the allotted time frame that we have set, you're willing to work with me and help me iron out my problem or my issue or my question, no matter how long it may take. And that's something that I can't find anywhere else, right? I mean, the level of patience that you offer, plus the level of expertise and the knowledge you bring, and just the mentorship, is just something that I can't put a price tag on, honestly. And I could never have that if I was working by myself for myself without an actual program or a mentor. I just know for a fact I wouldn't have been able to do what I've been able to do so far as a part-time copywriter without having you in my corner.
Yeah. And it's crazy to think about it too, bro. Like you're doing this full time or part time, sorry, while
Hmm.
doing
Yeah.
a full time job. Like for everybody that's listening to this, Rob has a full time job while still maintaining the Facebook. Like I want to give a round of applause to you, bro, because that
Thank
is
you.
not easy.
Yeah. Thank you.
That is not easy, bro. That is not
Yeah.
easy. So you, man, that is amazing, bro. That is amazing. And and with the webinar, or before we get into the webinar, talk about the community because I think there's a power in being in a community of other copywriters in the same journey as you. Like for me as a coach, like I get boring. Seeing this crazy Jamaican guy every single day, I can get boring as hell.
I never get bored of you.
I appreciate that, bro. Thank you. But all jokes aside, though, like I feel like talking to me, right? It can be the same repetition over and over and over and over and over again, right? But I think when you're around a other community of other copywriters that you can connect with, there's a different
Hmm.
power, a different element, a different power in it, right? Because you're
Yeah.
in a mastermind of other people on the same journey as you. And I want you to really tap into that because I think that to me is like really the foundation and the core piece to where this whole really to the core of being an entrepreneur where you have other people in the same journey as you, whether that's Jill, whether that's Ethan,
Hmm.
whether that's Josh, whether that's Jamal, whether that's Keely, whether that's Federico who recently joined, whether that's Carrie, whether that's Cal, I can go on the list of people. Whether it's anybody inside of our program now, there's as an entrepreneur, I've realized that if you don't have people around you, the self-doubt kicks the hell in. Self-doubt kicks in, and that leads to people potentially giving up because they don't have people around their corner. So
Yeah.
I really want you to tap into that core piece of the community.
Yeah, I mean, you really did correlate that perfectly too when you said that you have people in in your community that are helping you and keeping you afloat, mentally as well, and not getting too down on yourself when things aren't going right. And I think just having people that are on the same level playing field as you and on the same kind of
Yeah,
journey and wanting the same thing out of their business, it really helps you to stay motivated and realizing that people are in the same boat that I'm in. You know, we're not turning the boat back. We're going in the one direction we're going in and we're all on it together. And we're not stopping till we get to our destination and we're all in it together. So if I get down on myself or if I'm not really seeing the fruits of my labor, I know that there's someone else in the community that has gone through the same exact thing that I have gone through, and they can give me advice and let me know what they did to get out of that space or what they did to kind of see breakthrough as well. And we're all in the same wavelength as well, the same kind of synergy, energy, everything. We're all in a mastermind and we're all able to really just have have our brain juices flowing together and having things work and come together as one mastermind, like you said as well. And if you don't have that, you can you're just with your own self and your own mind, but you don't have any other outside knowledge or expertise or people that are going to be able to help you unless you're in a community of people who are striving for the same goal and aspirations. So it's
Mhm.
really just a huge bonus and a huge support system at the end of the day as well. There's nothing
Love it.
like it.
I love
Yeah.
it, bro. That's one of the biggest things that I realized. It's like if you like as entrepreneurs, we're lone wolves, but there's only so much that you can do when things get tough. And if you don't have people in the trenches, the same exact trenches as you, trying to figure this thing out, trying to build this thing, trying to build their own Facebook group, whether that's Jill trying to build her group, Josh, Jamal, Carrie, right? Like I go down the list of people, but if you don't have people doing the same thing that you're doing, naturally it can get tough. And like I even know for you too, like you're jumping on like you're doing sales trainings, whether that's with Josh, Omar, Ethan. I know you're connecting to a Jamal as well. I think to me there's a power in that,
Yeah.
right? Like you connected with them, right? Like you're jumping like extra like it's this is outside of the coaching calls and everything, right?
Yeah, that's all like external stuff. Like we're discussing meeting through Messenger, setting a time, booking things on the calendar, and
Nice.
actually getting together to go through, mock sales. And Jamal and I met together earlier this week, one on one, to kind of go over
Nice.
like the sales process and kind of just, pick each other's brain too, more than anything.
Yeah.
Be able to get
Jamal's a
new,
man.
unique. Yeah, he's really, really
Jamal's a
helpful, and
man.
he comes from a
Yeah.
very strong sales background too. So
Yeah.
I was really
Jamal's the man.
appreciative to get the info from him and
For sure,
just
bro.
being able to have each other give each other other unique angles or ways of looking at things and way of doing things that maybe I had a blind spot up for that I couldn't really see before talking to that person. It really just helps me to be able to see different angles and different ways that I could be approaching a prospect on a sales call and something that I didn't have myself consciously aware of before I spoke to that person in the group.
Yeah. I love it, bro. I love it, man. And with the webinar too, because I really want to get into that webinar because for everybody listening to this, I think I'm helping you build your webinar. Ethan, Jamal, Josh, Jill. I'm gonna try to get Carrie, and other clients in the future as well. Like I know right now is only I'm helping five right now build the webinar because not everybody else isn't so ready to build a webinar yet. Um, but they're gonna be building it out shortly. But I've been building out everybody's webinar for 5 years for a few weeks. I think you were the first one that helped build the webinar. We were doing this for the past since when? February?
Yeah, it's been a while, right?
Oh my God. I guess for you, like, I know we're not finished with it yet, but talk to everybody about why building a webinar can be so beneficial as a copywriter.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing with a webinar is being able to tell your story, the highs, the lows, the goods, the bads, and people just really getting a better understanding of who Robert is or who Ethan is or who anyone else is that's building a webinar as well. You really get an inside look, an interview of what that person is all about and what their story is. And you get to actually have everything laid out in front of you as well. They're not holding anything back. You have their full story and you have a better chance of building trust and credibility with someone that you can actually see everything laid out from, whether it's the actual process from A to Z that I go through for writing copy. I mean, I'm going through everything and I'm giving you as much detail as I possibly can, even down to like the prior jobs that I had up until I found copywriting too. Like you're getting an inside look as far as my entire, story is concerned. And I think that's the most resonating thing that you can really give back to other people as well, is them being able to see everything for what it truly is, and them actually getting able to see and understand why your process is unique to someone else's in the market as well. And I'm willing to actually show you that through a live presentation and a webinar to where you actually get to see everything that I do when it comes down to writing copy.
Exactly. So the strategy of what all of us are doing here. So essentially what I'm breaking down with Rob and all other clients that we work with is to build a webinar inside their Facebook group. So to keep it simple, what we're going to be doing is we're going to build a group and we're going to do a big promotion to get people to watch this webinar. And the objective of the webinar is to tell Rob's story, and of course, all of our clients, but tell their story, show how they write their copy, sprinkle testimonials, and overcome objections that people will have when they jump onto a sales call with them. Right. So it's breaking down their story, showing how they write their copy. Because here's the thing, as a copywriter, you could say, I'm a great copywriter to a business owner. Love it. Merry Christmas. I love that for you. But how do you write? What makes you different compared to every copywriter in the industry? And it's how you
Yeah.
write your copy. And if you can
Yeah.
showcase that in a video while sprinkling some testimonies of people that you've worked with in the past, while overcoming objections, you show enough people that video, you get them onto a call. People are not only educated on your story, they see how you write, and you show them some testimonials. And you overcame any objection, whether that's a money objection that they can't hire a copywriter, or they can use AI, for example, or like that's the thing. And I'm showing all of our clients how to build a webinar because that's the biggest thing that's helped me to build my business, my webinar, and I'm showcasing that to all of our clients. But to me, if you have a video that does the selling for you, naturally, like like we're building assets in the business. Like I'm realizing, bro, phase two is building assets in your business. Like phase one is to really get the business off the ground, just get some paying clients through the door, build momentum. But phase two is like, how can I start building an asset? How can I start building assets? And that's where
Hmm.
the webinar comes into play. Plus the Facebook group concept where we have a system in place to start getting clients, high paying clients and really scaling. But the webinar is there so you can have an asset. So you have one video that's showing your story, showing how you write your copy, sprinkling some testimonials, and you get the people that you want to work with seeing that video. And then it's just rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. And then boom, you get people onto a call, they're educated on who you are, you get them to make a decision on that call. So the strategy is to we're gonna do the webinars to the Facebook group. We're gonna do a big promotion inside the group. Hey everyone, come join this webinar that I'm doing. Hey, come join for about a week or 2 weeks, however long. We get people to jump on that, and then at the end, you do a mini pitch as well. At the end of the webinar, we're talking about your services. So here's the whole structure. So it goes story, how you write your copy, some testimonials, overcoming some objections, and a pitch at the end to talk about how you write your services and to pitch your copywriting service at the end. And you get people to watch that video when you're now booking calls, so we're now having something that's systemized for you. That is really the objective of the webinar, right? I love it, bro. Man, we're talking a lot, man. We're talking a lot about the info, bro. I love it. I
Yeah, all the
love it. I
nuts and
love it. I love it.
bolts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Now, my next question, you have some minutes, right? You have some time?
Yes. Yep.
Cool. My next question to you, bro, is as a result of implementing phase two and implementing the Facebook group, because again, I know you went through phase one, you went through the hybrid referral system. That's more so in the past. But now that you're focused on building the Facebook group, what has been the biggest outcome for you?
I think the biggest outcome has just been being able to book more calls is what I've noticed. And I think that really comes down to me
Love it.
helping myself to be a more of an authoritative figure in the space as well. I mean, with me building the Facebook group, I really do feel like so all the people that I am booking calls with are people that are in my group, obviously. So I really do feel like they are gaining so much more trust and credibility from me because some of the people that I've actually gotten on calls with are the same kind of people who have interacted with my posts. So I
Mm,
know for a fact it is building really good sense of trust and credibility, and they are seeing myself as someone who's giving good value to them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be agreeing to get on the call anyway. So I think that's the
mhm,
biggest takeaway that I really noticed from having a Facebook group is the fact that I can just feel more trust being gained, and I feel like I'm more confident in myself as well that I'm actually building an authoritative figure brand as a copywriter that's different from other people in the industry.
Yeah. How many calls are you booking a week, bro? Well,
It,
and one thing, Rob is doing this part-time, so he has a full-time job, but I want to hear this. As a part-time copywriter working a full-time job, how many calls are you booking a week?
I'd say on average about 3 to 5 a week, and that was up until I got this
Crazy.
client here now. So I need to kickstart the
Crazy.
resuming of the DMs again. But yeah, it's an average of 3 to 5 per week, and it's all strictly through the Facebook group and Messenger. So it's
It's
not any other
crazy.
external, mediums or any other source. It's all through Facebook. Yeah.
And there's only two jobs for everybody listening to this that we need to focus on when building this business, this copyright business. Booking calls and closing deals. That's it. You talk to people on the call, you close the deal. That's it. Keep your life simple. And Rob is doing
Yeah.
this part time, and you're booking 3 to 5 calls consistently. Like, that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. And I think that's really the focus. And again, this booking calls has led for you to land this 1K per month client, which is again planting the seeds. So it's crazy,
Mm.
man. And I kind of want you to tap into like the power of a Facebook group. I did a live training on this a couple of days ago, but I want to hear your thoughts with building the group, like the power of it.
Yeah, so I think the power behind the Facebook group itself is really just comes down to being able to help other people see what you do and how you do it. I mean, I'm going through and doing live trainings and I'm having people interacting with me as a community. Whereas if I was strictly doing this stuff on my Facebook profile itself, yes, it could be effective, but I'm not actually having a lot of people coming together and viewing something of mine live within my own group, right? It
Mhm.
just makes things more innate. It makes it more personal, and it feels like I'm talking directly to you, despite all the people that have my group. And I think it really helps to make it more personalized, and they really do feel like I'm there and I'm a well-known figure at what I do, and I'm here to actually help you with what you are doing in your business when it comes to copy. And that Facebook group really just shows that I am someone who's knowledgeable at the end of the day too.
For
And
sure.
I have enough confidence to build a Facebook group around my service because I know that I'm able to actually get people results, and I know that I can actually teach you copywriting even just by being in my free group. And that's
Love
something
it.
I can't really do through my Facebook as well as I could do it through my Facebook group.
Telling you, man, the Facebook group can do magic. Once you make it work, it's just rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, right? Love it, bro. Now, my next question to you is, where do you think, like if we were to go back to July, right, or
Yeah.
August, I believe you either enrolled in July or August, but if we go back to that time where I was like, hey, Rob, here's exactly what's inside the program, or let's, because you're in phase two, right? If I told
Yeah.
you, if we go back to December, I was like, hey, bro, here's exactly what's in phase two. Yeah, I'm going to show you how to build a Facebook group. I'm going to show you how to run ads inside a Facebook group. I'm going to show you how to build your webinar. I'm going to show you how to, build your own email list. I'm going to show you how to hire copywriters and all these things as well. If I went through that and you're like, hey, Nick, I don't want to move forward with this, where do you think it would be right now if you didn't take action?
Honestly, if I didn't, join your group itself, I feel like I could have potentially have given up on copywriting, honestly. I feel like I would have been hitting a wall so many times over and over again and not actually seeing anything come to fruition or seeing, my plants grow from the seeds that I planted. I would start considering trying to find a different way to make money and attain freedom aside from copywriting if I wasn't still, getting any kind of traction built up, let alone having someone like you in my corner or the mastermind community as well, being able to help me be coached and help me see that there is a possibility with this copywriting thing. But if I was strictly by myself, in my own thoughts, in my own head, with trying to get this thing to work, I think I would have just gotten fatigued and I would still be spinning my wheels trying to get traction, and I would have most likely have given up, honestly.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think one thing, bro, it's I think for you, like I said before, I think you have this character trait of just I need to make this thing work. Like, and you have this character trait of like I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make it work. And I noticed that because I even for myself, I'm the same way where I know for myself I know my why and I know what I need to do, but I need to make it happen. I need to make it work. Right.
Yeah.
And it's I think
Hmm.
when you have that character trait of like, I need to make this work, you're willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen.
Yeah, it's kind of like the concept of burning the boats. We landed on shore
Yeah,
now and we're not going back, right? The boats are burnt down. They're not there anymore. There's no way to go back. Like we already got on shore and we're staying here and this is where we are now. And
for
like
sure.
we have no other choice, right? It's kind of different when you have no choice, you give yourself no choice to fail, right? And that's kind of where I am right now as well. Like I'm willing to do whatever it takes to cut back on sleep if I have to say no to my friends sometimes if I have to. I'm willing to do whatever it takes just to make sure that I'm actually pushing that needle forward. And don't get me wrong, it's going to take a lot of sacrifices, whether it's sleeping, whether it's seeing friends, watching that football game, watching the Detroit Lions play. It's it's going to take a lot of
Yeah,
sacrifice, right? But I'm willing to make those sacrifices because I want to be able to set myself up and my family up for that time and that monetary, freedom as well. So
I love it, bro. I love it, man. Now, my last question to you is, if there is anyone right now who is just watching this, whether they're on the fence of booking a call, they're on the fence of building their own Facebook group for scaling their business, or even on the fence of just joining our program, what exactly would you say to that individual?
I would tell them to not rest on taking action. I would say to take that action now and don't let it linger. Don't let yourself kind of mull over making a decision to kind of better your life. And I think the best investment you can make is in yourself, right? I mean, people spend money on all different things in life that they're not really validated reasons for spending, whether it's shopping, whether it's buying, that new car you don't need, that new TV. So the biggest thing that I should tell people right now is the fact that you should really just realize that you need to invest in yourself sometimes, right? If you have a goal in mind and you don't really know how to get to it without spending money for it, that's really sometimes the only thing that it takes. I mean, you can spend the time to try and make this stuff work as well, but it could take years, it could take, decades, and maybe you'll end up giving up because you just can't find a way to do it. So my biggest advice for someone on the fence is to actually spend the money and get the coaching, get the program, and actually get a vehicle to achieve your goals. Like, get someone who's been where you are. I'm sorry, get someone who's been where you want to go, and that's yourself, right? And to not live with the regret of not doing it sooner as well. I mean, I'm 31 years old now, and I've spent a lot of time trying to find a side hustle that I can actually make money with and attain freedom with. And it's not until about 3 years ago that I found copywriting. But not only that, but when I did discover copywriting about 3 years ago, I was stubborn about making the change to invest in myself, right? I was kind of stubborn and on the fence about investing in a coach and getting a mentorship, but I regret not doing that sooner. And that's the honest to God truth about it too. And if I'm talking to someone who's on the fence or even my younger self, I would say to just do what you know you need to do. Take that action to better yourself, your life, and invest in yourself.
I love it, man. I love it, bro. We're just getting started, bro. This is the first client, but I think to me, it's doing the same. Like we even said. Remember when I called you that one? I think it was like last week. I think it was like at
Yeah.
8 p.m.
Hmm.
About the client. It's doing the same exact thing that you did to land that first client to land the second client. The problem that I see with so many people is once they make one thing work, they switch off and start shifting to doing other things. But it's
Yeah.
like, why shift and do other things when you already got success doing the thing that's been working? So for you, what's been working? The Facebook group,
Yeah.
driving traffic to the group, creating kick-ass, amazing, free, valuable content, messaging people to start booking more calls, jumping on sales calls, closing some deals. And again, we're always gonna have these highs, we're always gonna have these lows, but it's showing up and
Yeah.
doing the basics and getting those clients really good results, and then building that wait list or hiring other copywriters, which I believe, which we spoke about, which is probably going to be the strategy for you, right? But
Yep.
it's focusing on those things, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, man, we're just getting started, bro. This is just the beginning, bro. This is the beginning of building it, and like you made it work. Like that's what I really want everybody to understand. Like we made this work.
Hmm.
Now it's just doing the same boring things over and over and over again. Like everyone, like building a group, it's simple to do. You build the Facebook group, you drive traffic. Now it's not easy to do. It's not easy
Yeah.
with building the banner, having the right description, knowing exactly what things to say in the DMs to get somebody to book onto a call with you, creating really good content. Like it's not easy to do those things, but it's simple. But when you make it work, you have the right foundations in place and you're doing the right things. It's just a consistent rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat.
Yeah, and those are like the times a lot of people give up too, because I think we live in a society where people want to see things happen instantly, whether it's with, dating, with business, with anything in life, right? People want to have results popping up like that from them doing,
Hmm.
one day of action. But that's really what separates some certain people in this world too that are entrepreneurs, right? Unless you're
Exactly.
actively, if you're doing things without even actually seeing them come true or come into reality, that's what really separates yourself from other people. And that's really where the growth is. And that's really where, entrepreneurship lies, right? I mean, if you're not able to really just keep your goal in mind or your vision, despite not being able to see it every day, that's really where the growth is. And that's really where you become successful, I think.
I love it, man. Inspiration, Mr. Rob. I love it, bro. I love it,
Thank
man.
you.
Well, again, bro, we're just getting started, man. I'm gonna ping you after. Again, man, I'm super, super proud of you, bro. Like you have no freaking idea how proud I am, bro. Like I've seen your growth from when we first started to, using phase one, the hybrid referral system to, you know, having uncertainty with building the face group to then doing it and staying consistent with it, being relentless with it, and knowing that there were highs and lows that you were going through, but you stuck with the process and we made it a freaking reality. We made it a
Yeah.
reality. Like that's the biggest thing. Is like we made this thing a reality now. And now it's
Yeah.
just doing it over and over again, bro. And I can't wait for the next evolution of you, bro. Like you're in a different chapter from where we were at back in January. Like you're in a different chapter now. I can't wait to see the next chapter of Rob. Like I can't wait to see that next chapter, that next evolution. Like that's gonna be like, man, Rob is really doing what he has to do. Like you're doing what you have to do, but that next chapter of Rob, it's like, fuck,
Hmm.
like you're really taking things to the next level for yourself. And I am so proud of you, bro. So proud of you. Of
Thank you. I couldn't do it without you, honestly, either. So I'm really indebted to you, and I really just want to say thank you too. And I appreciate everything that you've been able to do for me up to this point too.
course,
Like
man.
without
Of
you, I
course,
wouldn't be able
bro.
to make this a reality, and that's the cold hard truth.
I ain't
Yeah.
going anywhere, brother. No matter if I'm
I
90
hope
years old,
not.
man. I
Yeah.
ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, you'll still be coaching
Uh,
coffee. Yeah.
I'll still be coaching you, bro. I'll still be here, man.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, yeah, bro. Love you, bro.
Love
Continue
you
kicking
too.
ass. I'll message you later and I'll see you tomorrow on our one-on-one call.
Okay, thank you, Nick. I appreciate you.
All right. Of
Thank
course,
you.
guys.
Love you too.
Love you too, bro. Everybody, have yourself a great night. Hope you guys got some value out of this. And again, like I always say, if nobody doesn't believe in you, I believe in you. And I hope you guys have yourself a great night. All right, we'll chat
Thank
soon, bro.
you.
Peace, man.
Okay, have a
Bye-bye.
good one. Take care. Bye-bye.